Easter greetings in the name of the one in whose love we find a place to belong as beloved children of God. This is the Reverend Canon David Chavez, and I serve as the Canon for Border Ministries here in the Diocese of Arizona. I'd like to take a few moments to let you know what's taking place along our borderlands and to share some of the ways that you can get involved with your community in this effort to provide our migrating neighbor with a faithful welcome in the name of Jesus. I'd like to begin by sharing a bit of news that I'm almost certain many of you have already heard, and that is the end of Title 42. Following that, I'd like to give you an update of what's happening in the state of Arizona, specifically around what is happening with migration and the shelter work that is being done in the state of Arizona. I'd also like to invite you to consider some of the opportunities to continue to support this work, this important work of welcome. I'd like to begin by sharing a bit of news about the end of Title 42. Now, I know many of you have been praying for this. I certainly have. Title 42 is a public health rule enacted under the Trump administration, allowing the U.S. to expel migrants and turn away asylum seekers at the border. We're talking about asylum seekers coming primarily from the countries of Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, and Mexico. Now, Title 42 was enacted 2 years ago in the name of safeguarding public health and has been used by some 1.7 million times to send migrants back to Mexico or to their countries of origin. A former senior migration policy advisor at the Biden administration noted that ending Title 42 is not about open borders. It's about regular order, where people have the right to ask for asylum, and those requesting asylum will be processed into the country so that they can pursue their case. They will no longer be subject to be returned back to Mexico as part of the migrant protection protocols, nor will they be expelled immediately without due process. But those pursuing asylum will be brought into the country to pursue their case. According to the Biden administration, Title 42 is set to end on May the 23rd of 2022. We're talking about providing a pathway rooted in our national identity as a place of welcome for anyone who shows up at our port of entry looking for asylum. So, how does the end of Title 42 impact our work at La Casa de Misericordia y Todas Naciones in Nogales, Sonora? Recall, La Casa, as many affectionately call it, is a migrant shelter that we support, that we're partnered with as Cruzando Fronteras in Nogales, Sonora. Cruzando Fronteras is a ministry of the Episcopal Diocese of Arizona in partnership, an ecumenical partnership, with the Grand Canyon Synod of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, and also with the United Church of Christ Southwest Conference. Together, we partner to serve our migrating neighbor and to serve them through the work and effort of La Casa de Misericordia y de Todas Naciones shelter there in Nogales, Sonora. And so the end of Title 42 means that the folks that are currently at La Casa, the 120 folks pursuing asylum, will begin to move into the next stage of their asylum process. As they move off the campus, a new community will move onto the campus. And what that means is that the leaders there at La Casa de Misericordia, Sister Angelica Macias and her sister Consuelo, and all the leaders that are there providing a faithful welcome, will put into place all the mitigation processes and strategies so that La Casa is a place that is safe, COVID-free, and a shelter for those pursuing asylum. We anticipate that the needs of the shelter, basic needs like food and other resources, will increase. So along with the cost of keeping the shelter cool during these brutal and harsh summer months, we also anticipate that the cost of many other needs will go up. And so we are inviting you and your church to be generous with your giving to Cruzando Fronteras. So now let me give you an update of what's taking place in Arizona. And this update comes on behalf of the Border Alliance group that Save the Children puts together once a month, where we gather together to share information on what's taking place on our stretch of the U.S.-Mexico border. The IRC, which has a welcome center here in Phoenix, received more than 6,500 individuals in March, and this is an increase from the previous month. The majority of the arrivals coming to the International Rescue Committee's Welcome Center are from the Yuma area. The majority of the individuals are from Nicaragua, Venezuela, Cuba. Some higher numbers are coming in from India and from former Soviet states. That's what's taking place in Phoenix, Arizona. In Tucson, and this is a report provided by Casa Alitas, they've been receiving 200 to 300 individuals daily, and they are sheltering 400 individuals daily. They've been receiving higher numbers of humanitarian parolees from Nogales, and the arrivals are balanced between single adults and families. Arrivals are also increasing at Casa Alitas and are expected to increase all the way into the month of May. And they are working very hard to increase the capacity of the shelter for these changes. One of the key pieces that is a great need at Casa Alitas is volunteers who can help with the outbound transportation. They need roughly about 50 individuals to accompany 50 individuals that are leaving each day from Casa Alitas to the airport, to the bus station. Thankfully, we have many of our members in the Tucson area that are involved and engaged with Casa Alitas, providing assistance and help at a variety of levels at Casa Alitas shelter. And so just want to give you all a shout out in Tucson and thank you for the work that you are doing. And also for those in the Phoenix area that volunteer at the IRC Welcome Center. Thank you for partnering to provide faithful welcome. And now, as far as Yuma, which has been really the center of a lot of activity, especially as it relates to Phoenix, the Yuma Regional Center for Border Health has been receiving 6 busloads of migrants a day. They've been managing a hotel in Yuma for COVID-positive quarantine, but their rates are beginning to drop, which is it's wonderful news. And many of the arrivals that show up at the Regional Center for Border Health are then transported to Phoenix, where they are taken to either to the IRC Welcome Center or directly to Sky Harbor Airport. They're preparing for both increased arrivals in May, especially in increased arrivals of families in Yuma. How can you help? Very simply, please pray. Pray for the migrating neighbor. Many are facing many hurdles to find a place that is safe, a place that provides a promising future for themselves and for their families. I ask you to support the work that we're doing with our ecumenical partners through Cruzando Fronteras. We are providing a link at the bottom of this video for you to be generous with the work that we're doing through Cruzando Fronteras. So we invite you to be part of that embrace, part of the generosity of sharing not only faithful welcome, but also the goodness and grace of God, the love that binds us as beloved children of God. And I also invite you to visit the shelter in Nogales. I'm inviting you to reach out to me, and you'll have my email address and telephone number, so that we can put together a visit to the shelter for your church, for your committee, for a group of leaders that want to see the work that Cruzando Fronteras and La Casa de Misericordia are leading in the Nogales, Sonora area. I invite you to come and see how God is at work in the midst of this time, and we're doing the best that we can to be faithful to this moment. Through Borderlands 101, a Zoom 6-week class that I provide, we have a community that gathers, sometimes only from our diocesan family here in Arizona, at times from across the nation. We get together to learn, to pray, to grow, and to find ways to continue to reflect and demonstrate the welcome of God as we together welcome the stranger that comes not only to the borderlands, but also comes into our hearts and reminds us that Jesus comes as the stranger. And in this post-resurrection world, It is the challenge of the church to open its heart, its eyes, and its arms to receive the Christ that draws us in to be this beloved family, this beloved community of Jesus.